and welcome back to the channel, and also welcome to the second video in the Cosy Corner Project series, and also the first video from my new setup. Hi everyone, this is voiceover slash editing Catherine. I forgot to introduce myself in the original video, and also I've decided what I'm going to talk about over the b-roll you'll see later in the video of me making up some mug coasters. I'll also explain that I don't know whether or not I'm going to just put music in or talk, but I've decided on a topic I will talk about just to make the video a little bit more interesting, so I'm not just making the mug coasters and you're just silently watching. Okay, so introductions. Hi, my name is Catherine. My small business is called Cat's Corner, where I make and sell handmade punch needle and tufted products. I also go on the internet teaching people how to punch needle, or just to guide them in punch needle and to help people explore their creativity and just be more creative. I'll also obviously explain that this is the second video in the Cosy Corner Project series, which is just a series I've created where I am basically revamping my craft area in my room and seeing where it will lead me in the future, and just do little bits and pieces for you to follow along and to give you a series to watch and follow along with. Okay, so let's go back to past Catherine as she explains what the video is going to be about, and then I'll come back as voiceover Catherine a bit later just to voice over the footage you're going to see. If you've seen the first video, you would have seen that I've organised, thrown out, cleared out, set up a new setup in my room just to move towards a cozier, more practical crafting space. And yeah, this is the second video. I have my coffee ready, and basically this video is just going to be me using my new craft area for the first time. So I said in the first video that my desk has been pushed down so I can actually sit more central to the desk and not have to worry about my knee hitting the chest of drawers that are here, so I can work in a good space. I can put my laptop where it used to be, but still have all this desk completely now for myself. So the laptop's not taking up the space on the desk. It is currently, but that's because I've got the camera filming here. I can also plug in my hot glue gun on my right now, so the wire's not going to get in the way because I'm right-handed. So that will be this side. So that's much easier, much more practical. And also when I'm here, because you can see the street, I'm sort of slightly to the side now, so I don't have to worry so much about if people see me, because there's more of a chance that they can't see me. So I don't have to get embarrassed by filming and stuff like that. But yeah, this video I'm just going to finish up some mug rug coasters. I've got a lot here to do. I will show you in a second. And then I will probably just b-roll and have a timer up so you can see how long it's going to take me. And then I will potentially do a voiceover just talking about something. I don't know what yet, but I'll just maybe do a voiceover over what I'm making. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. I will now show you all the mug rugs that I need to now complete. I've still got 2 more I need to punch out and complete as well, but I need to get a head start on these because some of these are the Zodiac mug rugs that I want to photograph for punch needle kits, so I can get the punch needle kits up, and B, I want to take them to the market on Saturday, and it's currently Wednesday, so I need to do all that. But yeah, I will show you what I've got. We've got quite a few. This is one lot. I need to do 2 more, so I'm not going to cut off the last line of mug coasters so I can use this space easier. I did post a video not too long ago showing how to utilize space when it doesn't look like you've got enough space for your hoop. So I will put that video on the screen so you can see my little tip there, and I will also link it so you can refer back to it nice and easily. This is a punch needle hack that will help you utilize space if you're like me and you like to make the most of your materials. So as you can see, I've finished this piece of cloth. However, I've noticed up here I can probably fit something. However, the gap that's left is a little bit too small for my small hoop. So this is what you can do. It's not an amazing fix, but if you work carefully and slowly, you can utilize all of the cloth, or as much of it as possible. And it's simply by using one other material, and that is masking tape. So I've already put it on here, but you can see I've added a bit of masking tape here and here, and therefore this space has now grown and my hoop will fit much better, and I'll better utilize this space. So it's really simple. I'll show you how to do it. Okay, you've got the side here. This is big thick masking tape. You want to place the very edge of it on the edge of your cloth, so just a little bit, but make sure it's on the fabric. See? Turn your fabric over and you're going to fold the very top of the cloth down to meet it. So you've added about this much space. And then you can get your hoop and you can make use of that small space. Because as you can see before, you can see the tape here, the hoop wouldn't have worked because there's all this gap. Now it's not the sturdiest fix, but if you get your cloth as tight as possible, you should be able to utilise that space, and it's not a waste of cloth. And also it's easier to utilise the space before you cut anything out because you've got more room to work with. You've got this bit of here as well, which you wouldn't have if you cut it out. But that's that lot. And then I've also got all of these as well. And again, I can utilise that space, but only I think whilst the coasters are still on here. So I need to decide if I'm going to not do those final ones for the moment and use up the rest of this cloth before I finish them all. If I cut it wisely, I might be able to use it off of this piece, but we'll see. We'll see. So yeah, let's finish up some mug coasters, and I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, hi, voiceover Catherine again. So the topic I've decided to talk about is how I got into punch needling and why I stayed. So just a little chatty talk about my backstory and just something to listen to whilst I am working. So yeah, as I said before, my name is Catherine. I have been doing punch needle now since 2020, so that's where we're taking it back. Okay, so I'm going to take you all the way back to 2020, early 2020. Now, my story doesn't necessarily start the same way everyone else started, with the fact that we were all inside, on furlough, without jobs, looking for new things to do because of the pandemic. My story starts a little bit before that. I mean, I could go all the way back, and I have touched on this in a recent blog post that I put out, so maybe I will go all the way back just to, you know, catch you all up. So prior to Cat's Corner, I was working in retail for, I want to say, 6 or 7 years. And for the second half of that career, I was a visual merchandiser for a company. And as the time went on, as the years went on, I was becoming more and more desiring, or I was desiring more and more to work for myself, do something creative. Now, even though I had a creative job within the company, it was very boxed in. You couldn't really express your creativity, and if you did, it wasn't liked. Okay, it was against the rules of the store, or it didn't make sense in the books and all that. Even though obviously you're there every day, you see what customers like and don't like, it still had to follow a set of rules. I do apologise if you can hear anything outside as there's work going on, but hopefully you can hear me okay. But yeah, so even though it was I would say probably the most creative job within the company that you could do in store, it obviously had its limitations, which is fine. It's corporate, that's just how it is. But it's very dwindling. It dwindles your creativity when you're put in a box and you desire to be creative. And obviously, when you're working a 9 to 5, your time away from that is very limited, in the sense of you're tired from work, you don't have the time to do it, or you're so switched on with your corporate job that you either A, don't see a life outside of the corporate job, or B, can't switch off from that. So even though you're coming home from your 9 to 5, you're still going through what you're going to do tomorrow, or you're getting messages and everything, and it's just very consuming, which is life, we get it, but it's not just life. There's so much more to life, and that's what I then started to tap into. So it was a mixture between my co-worker, or my colleague I should say, and her outlook on life, and the podcast I was listening to, the content I was consuming, and my ability to just want to break out of the mold. And that's sort of, yeah, that's what sparked it. So I've mentioned a few times before that I discovered a podcast called The Creative Rebels, and it was basically literally a creative podcast done by two creatives helping you get out of your 9 to 5 and into the creative world. And it wasn't always pushing on that. It was like just each interview would be with someone and just talking about their field, whether it was an artist of any form, or I believe one time they had Deliciously Ella on and her story as to how she got to where she was. So it's just basically different creatives or different business owners, small to big, so many different people, and just giving you their story basically. And that's the amazing thing about podcasts. Even if you don't like the person that's being interviewed, I would really recommend you still listen, because you will learn something, whether it's a life lesson or business advice or life advice. Even if you're not happy with who you're listening to, you can take something away from it. Like, there's always something to take away from it. And that's what I found with each episode. There was always a takeaway, which was really good. And because it was made by creatives, it was really good as a creative to listen to it, basically, because it was made for you. And there was a few things that were mentioned, and one thing that will always stick with me is the whole planting flags situation. So this is just the concept of everything you do in life, you are planting flags that at some point someone will see, someone will pick it up, and you will gain something from that. So even if it doesn't feel like you're doing anything now or you're making any progress, just know that you're still planting flags. Like, every person you speak to is a flag planted, whether it's someone you've known for years or someone you've recently met. You've planted a flag in their mind about something that they might come back to. And I've had this before. I'm jumping a bit forward now before I get to the start of the Punch Needle, but I did have this where, because of everything I did before Punch Needle, I was very much into the fashion industry and the sneaker community. Because I was so involved in that, thinking that's where my life was going to go, when I then started Punch Needle, last year I got an opportunity to host a big workshop because of the connections I had made in that prior life, I would say, made me be able to do a workshop in Offspring's new store in, I think it was King's Cross, and it was in collaboration with, it was in collaboration with Sneaker Sisterhood, Offspring, and Converse, which in my eyes is a pretty big thing. And it was a great event. And yeah, it was just that, well, those flags that I'd previously planted without even knowing what they were going to be picked up on for, then came into that opportunity for me. So it is true. Everything you are doing is planting flags. And even if it doesn't seem like it's doing anything now, you do not know who is watching, who's seeing, who's taking notes, and who is going to come back and have something for you. So don't ever think that what you're doing is not worth it, because it doesn't, because you're not seeing results suddenly. Really, it could be years from now, you could get the most amazing opportunity that could turn your life around. But you're only going to get that if you actually do. So my main message is just do the thing, which is also what's mentioned a lot on the podcast. Do the thing. Do the thing, and something may come about from it which could literally flip your life upside down. So, yes, retail. Now, because I'd been with the company for X amount of years, I was entitled to have 3 months off and still have my job when I come back. I can't remember what it's called, some sort of like long leave. I'm not sure what it was. And it was, I think, 2019. I was like, okay, I really think I want to take this opportunity, just because I don't know how much longer I want to be here, and if I can do this, then we'll just see. So I don't know, my memory is never very good, but from what I can remember, I still had 3 weeks left of holiday to take. I wasn't really one for taking holiday. I'd take like maybe one, there was a set week a year I'd want. Other than that, I didn't really take it, and I was always having to be forced to take this holiday, because obviously otherwise you lose it. So I was like, cool, I'll take my 3 weeks holiday, and then I'll go on my 3 months leave. And that was what was going to be the case. And by whatever means, luckily, those 3 months were not approved for whatever reason. I don't know if it wasn't put through. I don't know if it just wasn't approved. I'm not sure, but luckily, it wasn't approved. So I was on my first week of the 3 weeks. And at this point, I think I knew the 3 months hadn't been agreed. I'm not sure, but I was on that first week. And during that first week was when lockdown happened, the first lockdown. And I was like, okay, cool. So I already had 3 weeks off. So I was like, cool. I think it was in the first week this happened. And it was sort of, I don't know how quickly it struck me, but for me personally, now this is completely my personal experience with the lockdown. Everyone has different experiences, but for me, it was amazing. I was always dreaming of the day that we always used to say it, we'd love to be employed, be paid, and not have to be here. Obviously, that doesn't really work. Funny enough, furlough happened and it does work, but that was always what we would say. Well, it's Monday morning. How amazing would it be if we could sit in a coffee shop but still be paid to be here? And that was literally happening. Like, we were being paid, Obviously, it was less and whatnot, and there was all the everything around it, but we were being paid not to be in the building. And in hindsight, I took the relaxation a bit too far, I'll be honest, because sometimes I'm like, oh, if only I'd started sooner, if only I'd done this sooner. But I needed it. I needed that break. And for me personally, it was amazing. I also joined TikTok around that sort of time ish. I think it was, I was meant to check before I started doing this, but I haven't. So yeah, it was around that sort of time I joined TikTok, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I just joined it. Now, I don't know if I discovered Punch Needle on TikTok or where I discovered it. I do not remember. But I do remember one of the first YouTubers slash create like social media creator artists that I found, and I will put him on the screen so you can check him out. He is where I started to really watch tutorials from. I, at the time, could not find easy to follow tutorials. Maybe I wasn't looking in the right place. Maybe I wasn't looking deep enough. But for me, and I don't know if this is where I feel like this is where the resurgence, sorry, of modern day punch needle came about. I know it's always been about, but I feel like this is where it really like became popular again. So at the start, I was really struggling to find information. I was sat watching his shorts, pausing, playing, zooming in, trying to see everything he was doing to try and learn this technique. So the first thing I bought, I managed to get a kit, and I think I got the kit for £12. It came with the laser punch needle, came with an embroidery hoop, some fabric, and some embroidery floss. So this was to do a piece of embroidery with punch needle, and I really enjoyed it. It wasn't too difficult. I have a textile background anyway, so I'm used to embroidery and sewing, so it wasn't too much of an issue. Which reminds me, I probably should say I have titled this How I Got into Punch Needle and Why I Stayed. Because throughout my childhood, I would always be doing creative things, but I very rarely stuck to something. So I remember I learned the recorder at one point, I learned Latin at one point, I was in a marching band for a few years. But when it came to the creative arts at home, I never really stuck to just one thing. I did textiles and photography in A level. I didn't go to university. I was going to go to Creative Arts University, but I was sat in a lecture hall and I just thought this isn't for me. I'd rather just go straight into work, which is obviously then what I did, led me on to this. But yeah, I've never been able to stick to something. I don't have the attention span to just stick to one thing. I always get bored and want to move on to something else. However, Punch Needle, I started it in 2020 and I literally haven't stopped since. So something there clicked for me that this was the thing for me. This was the thing, the gateway to bring me back to the creative world as an adult. So yeah, I bought this kit, learnt that, and then I discovered the looped side of Punch Needle and the rugs and the wall hangings, and I thought I wanted to get into this. So I bought some things, didn't really research what I needed. I think I bought the Millwoods Punch Needle, some yarn, some cloth, and it was not going well. I still remember to this day, I was sat in the living room. It was dark. It must have been the evening time, I assume, and it just wasn't working. And I was getting very frustrated because it wasn't working. And I wasn't looking up at the time how to do this. I just couldn't make it work. And I found out that it was really simple. I just had too much tension on my ball of yarn. It wasn't loose enough. That was as simple as it was. All I needed to do was loosen the ball of yarn and I'd be fine. And I think tighten the fabric more in the hoop. But lo and behold, I nearly gave up. And it was literally that one simple thing that then continued or helped me continue going. And I find that a lot nowadays. I give them one small piece of advice and they're like, wow, I didn't know that was what I needed to do. Now I can make things. And that's how simple some crafts can be, is you just need to know one piece of advice and it completely changes the direction, I can't say the word, it completely changes the path of your creativity. So that's one of my main goals now, is just to give advice, just to give a little tip here and there that could completely change someone's creative outlook, and they're then able to be creative and to create art. That is a goal, and I do see it happen, which is amazing. So yeah, that's also now why I give quite a lot of information away, because when I started, I really struggled. Like I really, really struggled, and I was going on people's Instagram posts, scrolling the comments of all the posts, trying to find answers to questions. And a lot of the time, people weren't given the answers, which I also understand. But I like the idea of being able to help people, and I'm still learning. I'm not like a teacher, I'm not a certified teacher. I'm learning as I'm going, and I'm always trying to, anything new I learn or discover, I am putting out there, whether I've learned it through someone else or whether I've just stumbled across it myself. Just goes to show you, you never stop learning. And there's a saying, the more you know, the less you know. The more you know about something, the less you're going to know. So there's always things to learn. So never think you know everything about something, because you're never going to. And be comfortable, not be comfortable, be content in that, in the knowledge of knowing that you don't know everything, and there's always something to learn, because it's just so great, and you never know where it's going to take you. It could take you to a different art that you find even more inspiring, and then you become successful in that. You don't have to just see the end goal as what you're starting at. So punch needle doesn't have to be the end goal that you're amazing at. It could lead a different direction, and that's completely fine. It's all about learning new skills and adding them to your arsenal of skills and knowledge, and just expanding yourself as a person, as a creative, as an individual. So yeah, what kind of kept me going? I don't know what kept me going. Like I say, I'm very flippant with things. I don't stick to them very often. And even recently, I started to try to get back into scrapbooking, and I stopped. I did a little bit for literally a day, and I stopped. I did felting for a day, I stopped. Beading for a day, I stopped. But punch needle, obviously now it's a business, but I don't know what kept me going at the start. I really, really don't know what it was that drew me to this craft, but something has. It's so versatile, so I've been able to make different projects and products, and I guess that keeps you going, learning more about it, getting more detailed, getting into rug tufting. Like, the world just opened up, and I just took advantage of it, and learned as much as I could learn. Um, and I wasn't perfect at first. I've shown before different like old pieces, and my tufting with the rug tufting isn't always the best, but I, through my learning, have been able to just put it out there and hope to inspire other people. I guess I could say it's a meditative craft. Like, it's slow. You don't have to count. You can do it whilst doing other things. You don't really have to think too much. Like, you don't have to focus too much on what you're doing in a way, because it's not like you have to do something a certain way. Like, it's quite a freeing craft, which is quite nice. And I guess, when did it turn from a hobby to a business? I think what I done is, my Instagram account that I use now used to be my photography account, so it already had a brief following on it. And I started to put the punch needle on it, and I changed the name of it, obviously. And that's sort of where Cat's Corner came about. So Cat being Catherine, I also love cats, but I'm Catherine with a K, so I thought I'd do Cat with a K, a bit like Kit Kat. Corner, I started in a corner of the hallway, and I thought, okay, alliteration is great. I'll change the C to a K in corner, therefore Cat's Corner. I added on the studio because I don't think at the time I could get Cat's Corner as a name, and also I like the idea of the name being very broad. It doesn't say on the tin what is inside. Cat's Corner Studio. Studio is a very artistic word, so it's great. It could be anything. I could use it for anything, any craft I want to do, any business I want to do. I can use that Cat's Corner Studio as the umbrella for so many different things. That's what I wanted at the start, so I didn't have to think later down the line of changing the name, especially if I got it trademarked and everything like that, changing logos and stuff like that. I have experimented with the logo a few times, and where we're at now currently, which is a homage to my childhood/adulthood pet, which I unfortunately lost a few years ago now. Name's Jack, you'll see him everywhere, but he's literally the mascot now of Cat's Corner. And yes, so I started to put pieces on the Instagram account, and then people that were already following me were like, "Oh, I'd like something like this." I started to make a few bits here and there, and it just snowballed. Really, it just snowballed. I then started getting into in-person markets. I opened up my website because I like the control. And at the start, I focused solely on commission. So I used like a Google Sheets, or I used DMs. I tried to dabble with Etsy, and I've said before in a video it didn't really work for me. And then I just made that leap straight into a website because I liked having the control and the design, and I liked the idea of being able to put a blog post on there or anything, not just a online store. And yeah, snowballed. We're here now. We've done a workshop, trying to do some more workshops, and just continuing to expand knowledge on punch needle, experimenting it with mixing it with other crafts, and expanding my personal skill set, moving into digital art, therefore being able to move into print on demand products. So it's not all, because punch needle takes a while, right? So it takes a while to make, and therefore you're very limited with how many pieces you can make. Therefore you're limited with how many things you can sell. Therefore you're limited with how much money you can make. So it's good to have some passive income. And I might do a talk on passive income in a different video, talking about different ways of passive income. But print on demand is something I have started to experiment with my mug, and I hope to continue to experiment with. If you've been following, you know my issue I've been having with the iPad and Photoshop and my Apple Pencil. All of that is so I can expand my products and my skill set, but I'm at a halt at the moment. But yeah, we're getting there. I've got some notes that I'm just following along with. What it means to me now. I think what punch needle means to me now is creativity, community, expansion, inspiration, everything. It means that I can connect with people. I can share my creativity. I can be proud of what I do. I'm proud of the fact that I make it with my hands, and just seeing where that leads me ultimately, and where the brand of Cat's Corner can lead me, because it's so broad. It can really open up so many opportunities, and I'm excited to see and continue to see where all of this goes, and how many more people I can help and inspire, and just keep art going, and just keep people creating, and just letting people know that art is wanted and valued, and what they do is wanted and valued. It doesn't matter how many people are doing the same craft or the same theme. The fact that people are crafting and creating is so amazing. And yeah, I mean, we could go into talks of AI and art, and that's a good example of how we can start to lose handicrafts and handmade products. And I'm not just talking about your cutesy artists. I'm also talking about like craftsmen and carpenters and candle makers, and any sort of building. Any sort of crafts that you have to actually use your hands. It's I want to say it's dwindling. There are some crafts that have been made extinct, because it's just not wanted anymore, or people aren't learning the skill because they're more interested in learning other things, or they are led to believe that the world isn't made for creative. But we literally, anything that you make with your hands, we need. Leather makers, uh, yeah, woodworkers. There's so many things we have in our daily life that is made by hand, and whether that's a functional purpose or just an artistic purpose, like art. Think about how many people have art on their walls, even if it's paintings, because it's a function in a house. It's a function in a cafe. It's a function in a business. You have some form of art because it's just what brings the place together. So therefore, it's a needed thing. Okay, we need it. So make your art, put it out there, enjoy what you do, and don't be afraid. Just literally put it out there. So that's basically my punch needle story. If you've ever thought about trying punch needle, I would really recommend it. I've said before, it's meditative. It's not too difficult to get to grips with once you've got the correct materials and technique, which you can find plenty of videos across Cat's Corner channels, teaching you all of that. Obviously, my TikTok lives as well, a great place to come in and ask in person, well, not in person, but in real time questions, and get response and answers to. And it's versatile as well. You don't have to stick to one thing. You can make so many different things. You can move into rug tufting. It's such a broad world, and there's so much to explore and create with. And if you are already punch needling, then I'd love to know what got you into it, why you started, and how you're finding it now. I don't know if this voiceover is going to be enough for the video, or if there'll be some just B-roll now, but I will say this moment in time, please do drop a comment. Let me know what got you into punch needle, if you do, or if you would like to get into punch needle, let me know. Drop a comment now whilst the video is still going. I will probably come back and say this later. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to me ramble on about my story of getting into punch needle. And I always worry that I've been speaking for ages and my microphone's not been recording, so I'm really, really hoping it has. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the video. Let me know in the comments what got you into punch needle, or if you haven't got into punch needle, what you need help with. I don't know. Just drop a comment. It helps for me and it helps the channel. It helps Cosy Corner. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the video, and I will see you all again very, very, very soon. Goodbye. Okay, so it's taken me just over an hour to do this many mug rugs. I'm now going to sew on all my little labels onto this. I will continue the timer, and then I need to go back and punch needle some new pieces so then I can cut out the leftovers. I've also filtered up these that I'm going to put labels on as well. So yeah, time to do some labels and see how much longer it takes to do that as well. Okay, so in the end, this small pile of mug coasters took just under 2 hours. That was to put the felt on, well, to cut them out, fold the sides, put the felt on, cut the felt, and attach all the labels. So that there is 2 hours of work, and that's only half of the job. Obviously, the actual punch needle takes its time as well. I'm going to sew the labels on these off of camera, because obviously I wanted it just to be how long it takes me to do the Zodiac and the custom pieces. So that is that, and I think that might be where I end the video. I'm either going to end it here, or no. Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to end this video. So as always, please do like, comment and subscribe, and thank you for being here, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!